Hi guys, welcome again to another session of the European Teams user group. The group, just as an introduction, was started earlier this year by Adam and myself. We're just really all about growing a network of Teams professionals in Europe. We've had a lot of great speakers so far. We've had a few great speakers from the US as well, and Chris is going to continue that today. So as well as growing this network of Teams professionals, we wanted to give regular opportunities for people to present at meetups. When we first started out doing this, Adam and I wanted to get experience of speaking at user groups and give others the opportunity to do so, particularly people that lack the experience in doing that. And the other reason is to democratize Teams knowledge and experience. Our experience on the tech community this last year has been it's been unbelievable. Chris, you've helped us loads in that regard, and then we have Juan Carlos and Vassal and all of the members. They've really helped democratize and share out that knowledge, and they do so willingly. And we wanted that to be the same with these user groups. So with this, we accept anyone to speak, really, from all backgrounds, all level of experience, all areas of Teams. So whether it's to do with apps or voice or meeting rooms, or user adoption or deployment or migrations from Skype for Business, we're just all very passionate about Teams as a whole. So we really enjoy some of the best sessions we've had, funnily enough, and I think Adam might agree here, is on development. We've learned loads from those sessions. So whatever really that people want to bring to the table, we're really happy to accept that. Just a shout out for anyone, they can also watch this on demand. Adam uploads it to our YouTube channel a couple of days after we finish the session today, and you can go onto that channel and access every single one of these user group sessions, going right the way back to the beginning.
Yeah, and we can also say, like, both Chris and me knows I think it's the first time for both of us, for me at least, that we actually talk to you, Webb, right? But we know you quite well from the tech community.
I've talked to Chris a little bit. You weren't here because I joined y'all's meeting one day last month or month before, but okay. I've not talked to you yet. Yeah, it's first time.
Yeah. But as I said, I mean, we've had a lot of contact on the tech community. And had some discussions there regarding questions and stuff. So, all right. So today we're gonna talk to us about Teams meetings, right? And some tips and tricks around having meetings in Teams.
Talking about live events more so.
Yeah.
How to use an external encoder with that. Maybe some advantages, disadvantages, and all of that. So, but maybe get into a little bit of meetings. But that, as we talked about earlier, that kind of ain't gonna go exactly as planned, but I'll push it.
Yeah. That's great. I'm looking forward to that anyways. Yeah.
That's a real area of Teams where a lot of people need to know more about it. So, and we've not had it so far this year, so it's going to be a good one.
Yeah. And you, Chris Hoard, you're talking about some takeaways from the Microsoft Inspire, right? Regarding Teams, most of all.
Yeah, there were over 50 sessions with Teams. It's impossible to make them all because they're often timed at the same time. But there's a lot of stuff to take away from Teams. Yes, it's not all technical in its nature, being the event that Microsoft Inspire is, but it does give you almost a certain kind of direction about how it's going to go this next year, particularly from Microsoft's vantage point. And as we all work with it on a day-to-day basis, then it's good to know where it's heading. So there is a few good things. There is obviously so much content that I could never do it within a 40 kind of minute session, but there will be links afterwards where you can access all of the content.
I expected you to cover it all, Chris, today. I'm a little disappointed.
Oh, well, that starts off the sessions well, doesn't it, Adam? No, absolutely. I mean, we're going to make sure it's important that everyone has like access to all of it, especially if for people that couldn't make it. there was nothing that kind of all condensed all of the team sessions. So I'll show a little bit about that as well. So that there's probably a good 10 or 12 hours worth of on-demand video that can be accessed after this. So people will have to let us know which ones were the best ones and what they liked.
Yeah, great. I don't know. Shall we start off? I think it's time, right? All right.
Yeah.
Webb, you ready?
Shall I say quickly, Adam?
We have another slide.
Then the next one, just before we kick off today, the next meetup is on Thursday, 29th of August. It's always the last Thursday of the month, same time, which is 3 p.m. GMT. If you'd like to speak again at the next session, please just reach out to us. Or if you know anyone who is looking to speak at a user group to do with Teams, then please refer them to us. We'd love to have them. So also some of you may or may not know, and for anyone who kind of watches this afterwards, we are heading towards a virtual summit that we've created called Oktoberfest, and that is on October the 9th. We can confirm that we've got about 22 speakers so far for the event, and it covers a whole range of team subjects. So we really hope to see you on that in the future as well.
Yeah, the response was awesome, I have to say. Better than expected.
Yeah, we've got really, I think, a real strong group of people for that virtual summit. I guess it comes down to us now to put all of the organising in, but also as well, I know a couple of people on this call, Chris, and that you may also want to get in. I'm sure we'll keep the door open for you if you want to submit. So that would be awesome.
Yeah, we'll see. This is my first thing I've been doing since having the baby, so kind of try to do what I can. Plus, I'm still trying to sell my house like you. It sounds like the same thing, so I guess no excuse, right?
Yeah, I know how it is. I was saying to Adam that the day I came back from Vegas, we're just completed on the house. So I've been moving the last 2 weeks, and we've got a lot to do in the house, and having a 2.5-year-old boy as well. It's exhausting.
It's tough.
Yeah. Ready to go then, Ed?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it me first, or is Chris going to go first?
Oh, I guess I thought Webb was going first, but you can go first if you want to. You have to just sell it between you two.
Okay. I mean, there's a little bit about live meetings in this, so it'll be a good work into Chris. So the session we were putting from Inspire is called Teams, right? This is a kind of phrase that Microsoft were using a lot during Inspire, and just before we head into the session, this is what I was talking about, which was the amount of sessions that they had on this year. Inspire about Teams. Last year there were maybe a dozen. This year they had 50 sessions, right? And that was a combination of breakout sessions and theatre sessions. The breakout are the 45-minute longer sessions where you have a kind of speaker in their own room, and the theatre is the theatre within the expo, quite similar to Ignite. Now, before I went to Inspire, I noticed that Microsoft had not put anything together in terms of all the team sessions. Even within the app, you couldn't get one that just highlighted the team sessions. So I went through all of the sessions at Inspire, and I put them together in a blog. That blog is on Microsoft365pro.co.uk. The specific article is called Teams at Inspire. All the links to all the sessions. And as you can just see here on the left-hand side, under where it says code, that those hyperlinks will take you to each one of the sessions, and the on-demand session with the video will be up there for you to view. Most of them are on there now. So you can just use this to go and have a look and catch up on anything you think that you may have missed. And as I say, 50 sessions, it covers a lot of ground, development, apps, the Teams admin center, live meetings, migrated from Skype for Business. It has a lot in it. So I would just say to people that just to use this as much as they can and catch up over, the course of the next few weeks. First up, I think that most of us that are here today have probably seen this, and this is probably what started out pretty much all the sessions that I went to at Inspire this year, which was that 13 million daily active users and the fact that they've surpassed Slack, which is something that they're trumpeting, they're making a lot of noise about. I think it's a very exciting period for everyone who's involved within Teams and within Microsoft 365. And there are a load of reasons as to this kind of sharp acceleration. The first is the progressive development of the Teams app is only 2 years old. To achieve that within the period of time. But, it's all to do with the transition from Skype for Business, Microsoft lighting it up in the tenants. They have, I think it is 150 million Office 365 users. So, 10% of that, as it were, using Teams is still, you could argue not many compared to how many have Office 365. But it has got to that level because of the strategic importance. When you now hear about Office or Microsoft 365, Teams is the app that they're all talking about. Everyone evangelizes it, and there is a really strong community advocacy of this. Adam, you, myself, Chris, Randy, we're all involved in the Microsoft tech community, and we're all very kind of passionate about this. And I think we're all really strong advocates of it. And anyone we speak to, we do enthuse about this. So 13 million is a great number, but I'll show you the number of all the growth about what they want to achieve in a minute. So as well as this kind of headline statistic, Inspire, which was put around, here are some of the statistics that I actually got from the sessions that I attended. So over on the left-hand side, what Microsoft, the narrative that they're creating for Teams at the moment is that at this moment in time, 80% of employees spend their time collaborating every day. So the app is a natural fit to what they're kind of already doing. 72% of workers will be working remotely by 2020. Again, Teams facilitates this notion of working from anywhere. And to back that up, 52% of the global workforce works from home at least 1 day a week. So it's all about collaboration on the go through this collaboration hub, which is Microsoft Teams. Some of the other interesting statistics that Microsoft have put out is that I think on the right-hand side, I'll go for that one first. 2 times as many teams in organizations as 2 years ago, and twice as many small companies are twice as likely to hire remote employees. So they want this idea to be able to collaborate easily, but again, we're kind of going to this notion that we're moving away rapidly from people working in one place and having a lack of mobility. Specific, I guess, statistics to do with the extensibility of Teams. Microsoft said that 68% of Microsoft customers are planning to invest in a UCaaS the next 12 months. So you can now see that voice is going to play an important part with Teams in the next 12 months. 68% increase in live broadcasting events within Microsoft's organization from 2017 to 2019. So in 2 years, there's a massive jump in that one-to-many broadcasting, which touches upon what Chris is going to talk about today. And 15% of meeting rooms are equipped for video, even though video is the norm. So what that's meaning is that, Microsoft are pointing to the fact that meeting experiences generally in organizations aren't very productive and aren't optimized, and there's a real lack of specialism in that area. So that just picks out a few areas, voice, live events, and meetings, which we'll talk about in a minute. So what all these statistics are saying or pointing to is that, and here's the statistics on the right hand side, is this is the opportunity which Microsoft sees for partners. So they're seeing $30 per user per month for Teams collaboration calls and meeting, and they're looking at $16 per user per month for teamwork managed services. So that's the layering on of professional and managed services on top of Teams. And Inspired this year for me, they actually, I guess, pulled back a little bit on the technical and try to make it more about how you can use the current features or the extensibility of Teams to be able to layer on those professional and managed services. So taking everything into account of what we've said so far, this is what Microsoft, the number that Microsoft is saying that they want to grow the Teams user base by. So with 13 million, and they want to grow that by 300%. So they're looking at the end of next year as 50 million users plus of Teams. So the good news is that we're all going to be in demand, this year and the years to come. But that's a big number. But that's the big bet that's come out from Vegas from Teams. Now, how they get to that number, it will be, due to the factors that we previously saw. So that's continuing to innovate with Teams, continuing to give people what they want. But also as well, it is about this term that they're using more and more, which is called extensibility. The extensibility of Teams is about extending the core Teams platform into areas and going deep with it. These are the 5 that seem to have come out of Inspire this year. So the first is custom apps. So that's developing line of business applications to be able to use with Microsoft Teams. We go into the store today in Microsoft Teams and we see some apps like Jira or MindMeister or Flipgrid, or there's hundreds of them currently. Microsoft are saying that we need to develop more custom apps, and businesses should be looking to develop custom apps to develop both their IP and their managed services going forward. The apps that we're developing have to really work with 2 platforms at this point, one for Azure and the other for Microsoft Teams. The second is Power Platform. So Power Platform being the combination of Power BI, Microsoft Flow and Power Apps. There was a few sessions, if you notice, that were on these. I went to one with Power Apps, and it's the whole story of citizen developers putting together, business processes into these Power Apps and integrating them with Teams. So I guess the custom apps is more down the traditional development path, whereas the Power Platform is kind of moving more towards this idea of citizen developers. But I think that everyone knows the strategic importance of the Power Platform to Microsoft, but it's finding more and more ways to use that with Microsoft Teams. And the demos reflected that in terms of integrating Power BI dashboards, integrating Power Apps, one of the things that I have been kind of working with lately, if you go into a channel within Microsoft Teams and then go to just try adding Power Apps as a tab, because there's about 50 sample apps in there that Microsoft have already pre-populated, and you have apps that deal with things like requesting holidays or doing support tickets. And once you can start developing them, again, that becomes a huge opportunity there. The third area is voice. If anyone doesn't know, and I'm a little bit limited in what I can talk about here, because the business I work in a program with Microsoft who's under NDA, but voice, a small business offer for voice is on its way, and will be coming later in the year. But they see voice as probably the most important out of all on this list. There's a very, very good session that was held at Inspire about voice on the roadmap and where voice is going. I don't know to what extent all of the slides will be up there because there was a couple of NDA ones, but being in that session, there is a load of functionality that is coming. later on down the line. Quite exciting stuff. It's going to go way beyond what Skype for Skype for Business traditionally did. The fourth area is meeting rooms. The next slide is going to look in terms of extensibility with meeting rooms, but there was a defined session for meeting rooms, and being able to set up meeting rooms is such an art. It goes right into the devices, the acoustics within the room, how it's built, how devices are procured. For a business like the one I work for, they've not been traditionally involved in this area. So for them, some things might come across as quite alien, but being able to set up, conference rooms is a very, very profitable area when you actually go in and properly plan for it, implement it. And again, it's something that you can put professional managed services on. The last but not least is the live events. This one-to-many broadcast communications. Microsoft have been doing them a lot. They're really pushing them internally with their organization. But the live events session that I went to gave a great demonstration of Hive and integrating Hive to work alongside live events in Microsoft Teams. Hive is just one of a number of solutions out there. I think there's Collective and a few others, but that again gives you an opportunity to put professional and managed services on this. We're doing a Teams meeting now, but later on it may, in years to come, get very big where we ourselves might find live meetings to be a natural progression of what we're doing now. And as you can see, each one of these kind of deep extensions are running through both professional and managed services. So as an example, as said, with meeting rooms, this is how in the session that they mapped it out. So this is what a meeting room engagement would look like. Up front, you have an envision and enabling, which could be headed under professional services, and later you have the usage and support, which would come under a managed services offer. Now, in the envision phase, it's all about the planning, the network assessment, your device strategy, your meeting room assessment. This is all about planning, and so that planning could be that you go down to the customer's site, you spend a few days, you do everything you need to do before you actually set and provision things. It moves on to the enable phase. That would cover things like actually buying the devices, fixing them in the room, and there's things that they were talking about that you don't naturally come off the top of your head. It's about organising the transport to get them on site. It's about having things like making sure the walls could be load bearing, so that once you put up the equipment on the walls, that it didn't damage them. It was about the fabrics within the room. It was really interesting, the detail that they actually go in. But that enabling piece is all about making sure that it works, the first time setup, the configuration, the cabling, and again, the Teams room assessment would cover both of those areas. So the meeting room session is another important one that I really would recommend, because they give you links to that Teams room assessment within that session. Now, when it comes to managed services, this is after it's all been set up. And what you would do is go on to be able to do training and adoption with that organization, managing change, assistance to be able to migrate. You don't have to do this all at once. You can do it over a course of several days. You can set up support or different layers support for them. But it's not just about the technical elements. It's also about the change of the culture as well, how people actually conduct meetings. Yep. So where does this extensibility kind of sit within a kind of development and onboarding? Well, 2 seconds. Sorry, the lights. So this gives you an idea of how Microsoft view extensibility. This is how through the actual development of the service, you would onboard to Teams or have your initial configuration, and then you would go deep when the opportunity presents itself. So as you can see here, they're starting out with a setup of Teams. They're then doing a file migration. So that, I guess, would be core functionality. And it's at that point where they're offering meeting room services, which is one extensibility area. And then later down the line, they then go on to, have conversations about modernizing and integrating their line of business apps. Also introducing Teams-enabled devices. So if I kind of shift back to this slide, these extensibility areas are not necessarily ones that you'll be talking about with organizations on day one. It could be that you have a long-term plan for maturing teams within that organization, but these are just areas where you can go quite deep, and which there is a lot of areas where you can go away from just a core deployment of Teams. Now, what was new and what kind of was kind of what was announced, as it were? Well, when we talk about what's new, most of this stuff is new to the people that intended Inspire. For a lot of us on this call, these things we were at least aware of, or have just been released prior to Inspire. So if you see on the left-hand side, I have these items. These items were taken from the Inspire book that was produced kind of on the first day. The first is about announcements. So we all know about announcements. The picture's there in the right-hand corner. So, within the Teams channel conversation, you can now create that announcement when you have important news. You can put an image on the background of that announcement, and it makes that post highly visible to other users. The next thing is cross-posting. So that is coming up soon, August, I think, if memory serves me correct. So it's all about posting into multiple channels at the same time. And the third thing is channel moderation. So that is in the image down on the right hand side. It enabled team owners to be moderators, in which you can control who can reply to the channel. I mean, I personally think that channel moderation is an extension of the functionality that got brought in org-wide teams. I've posted out on social a few times about moderation, and some people, I think it's going to be another one of those polarizing views of things. I think personally there's going to be more benefits than costs, but others, I think, would disagree with that. Others would say that the management of it we're starting to see with all of a kind of a raise of control, we're seeing an increase in the complexity. So I think these are going to be features that either some people like or some people may not rush to roll out within their Teams instance. Okay, the next thing, is about urgent posts. Now, we've seen this, or what they call priority notifications. These priority notifications keep on sending out until a response is received. Now, I think this was brought in maybe, if my memory serves me correct, 2 to 4 weeks ago at this point. What we know about it at this time is that it's going to be dependent on the plan that you have. So I think that if you're in the business plans, you can have 5 a month. Anyone can correct me if I'm wrong. And then if you go to an enterprise plan, you have an unlimited amount. And as you can see the pictures there at the bottom, these were images that were ripped from Petri and Tony Redmond. I think we've all got it within our tenants now. Adam, I think you have definitely got it, because I remember you either doing a post or a blog or something on it. So and I have it too. Okay, the next thing here is improvements to first line workers. So the functionalities which they were saying that are coming in or being released. The first is the time clock for Microsoft shifts to clock in and out of their working shifts and breaks. May be good for some organizations, not so good for others. Again, this is going to be a polarizing feature. From a personal perspective, are not so big, on clocking in and clocking out. But hey, look, we work in IT where we're a little bit more flexible. There's still a lot of organizations that expect you to sign in and out on the exact minute that your shift is allocated. And the second is about targeting communication. So that's the mentions based upon roles. And there's just a kind of in the right hand corner what that is going to look like. We're all familiar with mentions. You can mention somebody to highlight and notify. Well, this just makes it easy in that you can assign roles to people within the admin center, and then just mention the role. And that means is that you can potentially do hundreds of users at the same time rather than mentioning them all personally by name. The next one is probably a little bit more interesting to us because this is the actual new stuff, and you may or you may not be aware of it at this point. So immediately prior to Inspire, Microsoft announced that they were going to begin to integrate contact center solutions with Teams. That Teams would have compliance recording partners. They would start integrating workforce management solutions, and the fact that they're announcing 6-month trials, which is full trials of Teams to Exchange online only partners. Now, one session that I know that they talk about this is the voice roadmap session. Again, that was probably one of the sessions I think people will be generally more intrigued about. And I just got a couple of screenshots here from what was up in that sessions. Okay, so from the times of the compliant call recording on the right hand side, NICE, Verba and ASC, they are going to be some of the integrated solutions for compliant call recording. As you can see from the slide, the recording is compliant regional storage. So that's going to, because they haven't gone into that, it will definitely be in the US. I mean, will it be in the UK? Will it be in EMEA? We're still waiting to hear details from that. Managed on a per user basis and enabled for Office 365 phone system users via E5 or E3. I think a few people in the session were were a little surprised that it is an enterprise feature. It's almost if the small businesses don't have compliant needs. Maybe when small business voice is developed later on, that we'll see it also added to the small business plans. And just a quick final point before I move on to the contact center. Compliance recording is one of the reasons why people abstain from going on to Teams or choosing direct routing over Microsoft PSTN, because they haven't got that compliance call recording function. The next is Teams and the contact center. Okay, so this is all about voice applications integrated with Microsoft Teams and the phone system. As you can see there, the core functionality, configurable multi-level IVR, auto attendant and call queues, and flexible number assignment, DID, toll-free. This is going to make another difference. And if they dig into it a little bit more by saying that there's going to be levels of contact center integration, as you can see here, they've got 3. So the first on the left hand side, one being Connect. Okay, so that's the third-party contact center and agent which is connecting to Microsoft Teams. You have the next level up, which is integrate and extend, and then on the third you've got the most deeply integrated, which is embedded, and that's using the calling and Teams SDKs with which to do that. Now, at Inspire, they only pointed to contact center integration level 1, which is that connection. And they put out, some people that they're going to be doing this with straight away. I personally don't know all of those vendors. I know Anywhere 365, they've got quite a presence here in the UK. But we're going to find out more about this over the next few weeks, and hopefully about the other levels of integration with the contact center too. So that is everything from me today. Okay, I just want to kind of remind everyone that there is 50 sessions. There is 10 to 12, maybe even more hours with which to go and view on Inspire. I'm starting to view a few of them tonight that I haven't seen. So I'd recommend just to go to the blog, start clicking and seeing. Some of the sessions may not be up. It can take a week or two for them to actually be attached, but I fully expect that after a couple of weeks, they will all be there for you to access. So at this point, I just want to say thank you very much. I hope that it's been insightful. All of the information in there covers all the main announcements in the Inspire book that Microsoft released. So that's the stuff that they actually want you to know, and hopefully that you'll get a lot from viewing the sessions. Before Chris speaks, again, we will just advertise the next meetup as the Thursday, the 29th of August.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Great session. Very interesting. And also
I know it's not the typical technical. Next time I'm on, it will be back as normal. So, but it's really interesting. I found, and I don't know what other people think from that about the way it's going. Has everyone on the call, are there particular those areas of extensibility that you're involved in? I tend to be involved, or I'm going to be involved a lot in the voice going forward, but in the other areas, I don't have a lot of involvement. How about you guys?
Nah, I don't do much with integration other than like Power Apps stuff. I'm pretty big into Power Apps, but not like with voice or any of that kind of integration with the CRM or anything like that. So.
No. So I think that it may be that we might be picking our extensibility areas this year and ones to get deep into. How about you, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, I've played around, not much about integration, but I played around a little with Microsoft Graph stuff, a little bit with the Power Apps as well. I've also played around a little bit with integration with Microsoft Dynamics and Microsoft Teams as well. But other than that, not much. Not much with audio either. But as you say yourself, it's a big thing, and I'll get into it more, I think, later on.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really interested in the power in the Power App side of things, just for business use cases. I mean, if you translate them onto partners, when I accessed the Power Apps, and I saw all the sample apps that they did, it really is amazing in which you can maybe create IP off the back of it and do that for solutions, because once you start adding them, they're in tight with the solution at that point, and maybe that is the point of it, but okay. Well, I hope you all enjoyed it, and I can move off stage.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Chris. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Webb, you ready?
Yes, sir. All right. I was going to do this another way, but we'll go with screen sharing. All right, cool. So going to talk about live events in Teams, using Teams live events. I'm not really going to touch on the Yammer or the stream live events because you can also create those there as well. But kind of talk about taking it to the next level. What I mean by that is using more than just Teams for your input to the meeting, which goes out to all your attendees. So a little bit about me. Name's Chris Webb. I'm a cloud solutions architect for a gas and oil company here in Texas. Been in Microsoft technologies for about 20 years now. I'm also an Office Apps Services MVP and got my interest listed. I'm not going to go over all that. And how you can reach me on Twitter. Follow me there. I usually post up all the latest about Office 365. Throwing a quick slide about the tech community. So always don't see a lot of speakers talking about this, but as Adam pointed out and Chris pointed out, you pretty much got the Teams tech community, all stars here. We've been doing it for the last year, I've been doing it for the last couple of years. They've been doing it pretty consistently the last year and a half. So anytime you have any questions about Teams, you don't have to reach out or try to find somebody. Just come to the tech community here, go to the Teams section, and you can ask a question. And usually one of us are going to be on point if we don't have an answer, we'll find an answer. So we've all been learning from that as well and just sharing what we do know with everyone else. So the agenda for this, pretty much want to cover, what are Teams live events, the options for presenting live events with Teams. So those two options pretty much are, Teams as the encoder or using an external encoder. And I was going through the documentation for this. They used to refer to it as an external encoder, but now they're kind of calling it external app and devices. So they kind of go hand in hand. When I say external encoder, it's just I'm used to calling it that, but when you look at their documentation or when you set it up in Teams, it's called external app. Hybrid, the true magic, which is not going to be that magical because Teams doesn't let you pick the primary webcam yet. When they do, though, come back to this and it'll be pretty cool, and how to spice up your meetings. So what are Microsoft Live events? So live events are basically just an online meeting, which can be to large audiences. So Teams meetings are limited to 250 users. Live meetings, you can go up to 10,000. They're less interactive, so you don't really get the voice from everybody else. Only the presenters can broadcast to the stream for all the audience. So it's a little less interactive there, but you do have Q&A and chat and stuff like that that you can still utilize for the interaction if you want. The max duration is 4 hours, and each tenant can have a max of 15 concurrent meetings per tenant. Don't know why you would ever do that, but I guess if you're a really large organization, that's something to keep in mind. Who can create live events? So I'm not going to go over this whole list, but this slide's for later consumption, what licenses are required, what permissions and admin center, all the stuff you need to set up so you can create live events. Same with the system requirements. If you want to be producer, presenter, attendee, all works on desktop. Attendee only works on web and mobile. So if you're going to produce or present, you got to be on the desktop client. There's 3 different roles plus the organizer. Kind of got all that laid out so you can see that on the slide, but what you can and can't do with each role. When you create the live event, you get to pick, you can invite someone as a producer or presenter. And then, of course, the attendees get the general link. And the options for the live events, again, you got Microsoft Teams. This option allows you to basically just use your webcam and share the screen as input to the event. Similar to a meeting like we do now, where we can share the screen, share a webcam. It goes out to the live event and it broadcasts out to everybody. But you also have an external app or device, aka the encoder, which is pretty much usually used for large scale events. And most of the time you're going to use an encoder for live events when you are doing just like a high production value broadcast everywhere. If you have like a studio set up, you have multiple cameras, you want to add in some visual effects, you want to add some audio, you can actually do some really cool stuff, which I'll cover some of that stuff you can do by yourself to kind of spruce up your live events with using a software encoder. Now cross this out because it doesn't have to be a large event. You don't have to have all kinds of production. You can use an app on your computer to make your live event better. So the encoder I'm going to kind of show is OBS, called Open Broadcast Software. I need to get the URL and put it on the end of the slides, but Microsoft has a list of supported, encoder apps that you can use. OBS is one of those. So that's the one I'm going to be covering here. It's open source, free. It's widely used by streamers, so there's all kinds of YouTube videos on how to use it, how to configure it, things you can do with it. It has multiple inputs, outputs. You can pipe your system audio through it, video playback, everything. obsproject.com to get it. And we're going to go ahead and do a demo, how to create a live event. So it's kind of hard to do this while you're using Teams, so I've made a video for this. So let me bounce out of here and pull that up. And the sound should come through here too. Teams, actually, I'm going to touch on that because Teams just now, they announced that it's where you can share your system audio and you're sharing your screen. I haven't seen that yet, but it should come any day. So you can actually just share screens and play a video and play audio through it, but you can't do that yet. However, I'm using OBS to broadcast this stream through a audio mixer, so I can actually have that functionality where I can play this video and you guys can hear this. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this demo, let it run, and then we'll continue on. All right, so I'm gonna show how to do a live event with an encoder from Teams. So once you get OBS installed and you're ready to go, what you need to do is come into Teams, go to Meetings, Schedule a Meeting. Up here in the top left, if everything's set up properly, you'll have a new live event. So I'm gonna click on that. I'm gonna say EuroTeamsUG. If you want to invite more presenters, you can here. Set up the time, click on Next, click Permissions so you can have individuals, org-wide, or public. And this is where you can pick the encoder. So if you pick Teams, this just uses Teams, it uses your webcam. You can share your screen. You can kind of got like a studio view where you can take what you're about to show on the left and then push it to the stream on the right. It's actually pretty handy, but you are limited on a few things that you can do with the encoder as far as special effects and whatnot. So for this purposes, we're going to show external app. And here you can do captions for the recording and QA if you want. So I'm going to hit schedule. And this is where you can get a link to send out to everybody. You can click on join and join your meeting. Same with this link here. So I'm going to go ahead and join this. It's going to get everything started. Just click Start Setup. It's going to get things going. Here on the right side is your source settings. This is what you're going to feed your OBS. So over here you got server ingestion URL. You want to copy this URL. And then you want to take OBS and under settings, your stream, here's your server. You want to click custom service, paste this URL in, and then stream key, you got to get that out at the end of your URL. So take this last part, copy it, don't cut it out because it still needs it, and paste that in for your key. And hit OK. And then when you're ready, click Start Streaming. Now this is going to take all your output from OBS and it's going to push it to your live stream. Go ahead and minimize this. It takes a minute. Once you see this stream thing going, that means it's starting to get a feed. So it says you're ready to go live. So anything you got in this OBS that's going, like my desktop, I'm going to go ahead and switch it over to my camera. And we're going to click Start Event. And it's going to take a minute because there's a lag on the live event. But once it starts up, you're going to see me sitting here talking on my webcam. And I'm going to go ahead and do a transition now back to the desktop so you can see it, and then we'll show what's going to output. So desktop here, sharing that, minimize it. And once this comes up, you'll see everything that we just talked about. There is quite a bit of lag here on this. And here it is. So the best thing to do is get it started early. have it sitting at a waiting to go live, background or something. That way when you see this preview comes up, you can see my transition I did. There's me talking. We can listen to it. You can hear the audio coming in. But basically, that's how you get it in. You're good to go. So anything you're streaming through OBS at this point is going out to your audience. When you're done and you're ready to go, you just click on end event. This is gonna record it, put it up where it's available. You're sitting in here, you can still do QA and whatnot, but I'm gonna go ahead and leave. And that's how you set up OBS for a stream in Teams. All right. So that was setting up a live event for the encoder. Now I'm going to go ahead and just show a little bit of OBS and how that works. So OBS is kind of, it looks complex, but it's really not that bad. So what you do is you go download the software, it comes up, and you pretty much just get this screen where you have scenes here on the left, which scenes are pretty much, you can set up a whole bunch of predefined cameras, backgrounds, audio, video, whatever you want, and you can switch between them. And then you get transitions. You'll probably saw that in the video where it closed and open. That's called a stinger transition. All it is just a short video that kind of goes from one scene to the other. Then sources, this is where you put your camera, your backgrounds, all your sources that are being consumed into the feed, which go out to your audience. Mixer, this is where you can do all your audio, so you can monitor your audio so it comes through to your headphones, but everything goes out to someone else unless you mute it. Your scene transition, and then over here on the right, this is where you can start streaming. Once you go into settings down here and you set up that stream key I showed you, you hit start streaming, that pushes it out to stream or live events, whatever you want to call it. You can also use this to record videos. I use this a lot to do tutorials and training videos. I'll do OBS, so I can do effects. I can do, you can do it for, here, I'll show you. You can do desktop camera. Share, this might look funny, but you can put yourself in front of, video. Yeah, I have some magic behind that, which I'll show in a minute. But you can transition back and forth, and it comes up. So that's just a quick overview of how you do that. So let me go back and I'm gonna stop sharing my screen to show you this next part, which I was hoping would work, but I can never get this over. There it goes. I was hoping it would work, but because you can't put a primary video as a webcam, this is only going to take up a quarter of the screen. So let me stop sharing here, and then I'll kind of show what I was talking about. I was going to have a little fun with this, but you can see kind of got a background going. Which I'm not going to be able to hear, actually. What's up? Chris from tomorrow. It's past me. We're just getting in a massage before big presentation tomorrow. So everything going good? I prepare all right? Yeah, it was going good till I messed up the webcam. Gonna go get back to the tech community forums before Chris and Adam get on everything. So I'll talk to y'all later. Yeah, Chris and Adam, y'all always sniping the tech community answers. But anyway, that's something you can do with the videos. You can still do transitions here too on my webcam feed. So it's going back to desktop, whatever. I can do my desktop sitting here, and I'm doing it inside the meeting, so it can work on one-to-one call or meeting. But like I said, until we can actually make it where you can focus on one person, you can't full screen it to get all these things in a meeting. However, when you do live events, this whole thing is full screen, goes across to everybody else. So let's see. So I am doing this, of course. All right, so I'm gonna show how to do a live event with an encoder thing. I am doing this, of course, with the green screen. So I can come into my camera, and on there is a filter. I can turn that off. Boom, there's my green screen. So yeah, backgrounds are coming in, but if you really want, you can have videos, full effects, everything else on your green screen. $150 for like a portable rolling green screen, which you can use to do whatever you want with to get you in these videos. So, all right, let me go back to the rest of my slide deck. All right, so what is the two biggest benefits of Teams meetings over encoder live meetings? And what I mean by that is using like the team meeting as an encoder, or Teams as the encoder versus the app or the actual external encoder. Any of you guys know? So here's what I think the biggest ones are. Anonymous access is the big one. So when you use an external encoder, you don't get anonymous access. So it makes that option for anyone not work. They are working on that though. So when they do that, that'll be kind of null and void. But to get anonymous users to join without logging into your organization, you have to use Teams as the encoder. So that's when I put that little tidbit about hybrid. So you can use what I'm using now, OBS, and I'm going to cover how you do that to where you pipe it in your webcam. So you can use your webcam with the Teams encoder and OBS to pipe that webcam, all the effects, the green screen, anything you want to do into a live event, which also supports anonymous access. So that's kind of how that works. So yeah, a little confusing, but it's pretty cool. So how you do that? We do an OBS virtual cam. What this does is take the OBS output, which you would use normally for the live event, and converts it to a webcam input. So what you're doing is you're opening up OBS, having an output to a webcam, and then you use that webcam driver, which I don't know if I can show that. I should be able to. Yeah, y'all can see this. So I can go to my device settings, and then over here on the right side, you can see my camera is OBS camera. It ain't using my webcam. It's set up to OBS camera. And what this does is piping everything from OBS into Teams. So when I do that, now I got full control of everything I want to do, effects, green screens, transitions, all that going into the Teams live event, which everybody can watch. So of course I use the green screen chroma key for the camera input. You do have to take a little bit extra because the system audio doesn't work. I use this thing called Voice Meter. It takes OBS output monitoring and merges it with your mic. So that, because in Teams you can't pick more than one input. So you use your microphone. Well, in this case, I use, what's this, Voice Meter output. It's a little app that kind of takes all your audio, mixes it together. So I got my input from my microphone and the virtual input, and it outputs to my just a random device. But then I have it set here as my output. That way it merges them together. That way you can get audio from OBS and your microphone at the same time into your Teams meeting. I know this is a lot, but bear with me. And then the transitions are called stingers in OBS. They're nothing more than just a short video that activates on transition. But anyway, here's all the resources about, setting up live events, everything I went over in that demo. There's a link to that, link to OBS Studio, a link to the OBS virtual cam. It's pretty much you download it, you install it, and then inside of OBS, up at the top tools, there's this virtual cam. You just turn auto start on, and you can start and stop it. Once you start it, now you have that available webcam to put into Teams. And then voice meter, and that's pretty much going to merge your mic and your OBS audio together to be able to use it for a mic input to Teams. And that's it. So this is how you get my Twitter if you need to. So any questions?
Oh, that was really awesome. That's some really cool stuff right there.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely complex, but if you have somebody needing options or needing to do some extra things, then this is how you do it. So you can get all kinds of effects and things into your meetings.
And I've got a quick question, Chris. All up, how much is kind of the cost for that setup? Would you be looking at?
So I got a few extra things. So the green screen, you can do it cheap. Obviously, you can do green screen for $30, $40, $50, but this is like an Elgato green screen. It's about 150 USD, and it's, I wish I could show it, but it's, here, let me, well, I can't really show it too much, but it's like a fold out long elongated thing that you can put away, and the screen just folds up and down, so it's kind of portable. You can ship it and stuff if you need to. I also got like what's called an Elgato Stream Deck. This thing's about, you can get on sale for $50 usually in Black Friday or something, but this will do screen transitions. So if I do this, I'll go back to my desktop, I just push a button and it does it. Push it again, and I'm going back to my webcam. You can start and stop audio feeds and do whatever with it. So without having to do it through OBS, you can do it. You can use that. And if you only have one screen, that's a godsend too, because usually you can put OBS on one screen and do your transitions with it. But if you don't, you have a single screen, you don't want to have OBS up while you're switching back from your desktop and everything else. You can use a Stream Deck to do those transitions for you. So
I'll definitely start playing with OBS from now on.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Wish I had some more time. I could go over a little bit how to do that, but it's not too bad. Like I said, streamers use it everywhere. So there's a million videos on YouTube on how to add scenes, how to do effects, how to do all this stuff. They even have pre-made templates for, your user group's about to start, and a countdown timer, and then you can transition into something else, and it has all that stuff built in. So.
Yeah, I presume we can do a lot of cool stuff with this. I think we got a question here. Maybe a bit complicated for the normal customer. Is there a pain point to use only the native Teams Live events features, other than the missing crazy video and audio overlay features?
Pain point for only using the Teams, other than the lag. So that, even using the Teams client as the encoder, it's still a broadcast, so there's still like a 40-second lag when you're doing stuff. So you'll be talking and someone will ask a question and you won't really see it you'll see it right away in the chat, but if you respond to them via video, then it takes a long time to get to answer that. So that's for both methods. It's not just the Teams client only method. So that's just live events in general. So you just got to keep that in mind. Other than that, the Teams encoder works fine for doing live events. I mean, if you're just using a basic webcam and you want to talk to people and share your desktop, share your screen or a presentation, yeah, it's totally great. But if you need more, you have that option. So a lot of people they'll want to do production value stuff with multiple cameras, for executive meetings or whatnot, so they'll take it to the next level. It's not meant for every user, but it's there for if you want to do it, or if you have a production crew that needs to produce something more than just a webcam, you just talking, you can make it a lot more interactive, a lot better production quality.
Thank you, Christopher. I'm Philip from Germany here.
Oh, hey, Philip.
Hi there. I have another question. We have a new customer which is really modern and agile, and he wanted to do live events in the near future. And he's completely new to the live event functions and environment. And he has no good meeting room hardware and camera stuff and that. Do you think there's a special hardware for live events other than encoder software? From a hardware perspective, what do you prefer for a good live event?
So, I mean, good's a relative term, so it kind of just depends how far you want to go with it. So, I mean, the more you spend, obviously, the farther you can go. So, realistically, you just need a good webcam, and that's all you really need. And like I said, I did all this stuff other than the green screen. You can still do most of this stuff just fine with just using OBS and a webcam. All these transitions and audio feeds, you can pipe in music, presentations, all that with OBS just fine in a basic webcam. But then you got to start spending money if you want to have a green screen and overlay video or have a cool background or overlay yourself on top of a presentation. You know, that's usually a big one people like doing. They like having me sitting there in the corner while I'm talking to you, while I'm presenting, you know, a presentation, or while I'm showing you what I'm doing on my screen. So need a green screen for that, at least minimum, and a webcam. Then you can do that feature where you can stick yourself on top of your presentation or your demo.
Do you have experience with the Logitech room systems? Could that be a hardware choice?
I don't see why not, because it treats it like a webcam. It moves around, and especially if you have the higher end Eagle Eye stuff. I don't remember if that's Logitech or it's probably another company, but you can do Eagle Eye with multiple cameras and stuff. But that device does the transition from camera to camera for you, so you're only inputting one camera in the team. So it just depends on the system. So a lot of that stuff you could use and pipe into OBS. I mean, it literally takes inputs from anything. So kind of just depends how far you want to go with it. I mean, you can keep it simple and you can still do a lot with just a webcam and OBS or another like software. So
yeah, really professional looking. I mean, in the business you work for, Chris, do you do live events kind of either internally or externally? Is there one more than the other?
Honestly, I'm still kind of new at the place I'm at. They don't even have Teams installed yet. So,
Yeah.
like I said, I use I use OBS a lot. Started to for doing recordings and stuff on my own because I can use the green screen and do all that to record a tutorial or whatever. So I use it for that. But if you want to use live events, you can, and you're used to using OBS for that, you can just pipe that right into live events and do the same thing live. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, I was looking at your demo and thinking how good you can use them for like things like educational videos. I mean, those transitions, switching between the screens. Adam, I know you do a lot of training too, don't you? So, and I certainly
do. So yeah, that came to my mind as well. So
yeah, it's a little bit of learning curve, but it's really powerful once you figure it out. And like I said, I don't spend a lot of time on it, and I did all that stuff. You know, I spent a handful of hours obviously getting ready for this, but it's not that hard to do. I mean, like I said, there's videos everywhere to figure it, you know, to brush you up on it, and it's pretty powerful. You can do some cool stuff in your living room. You know, you can do some movie effects.
That's awesome. I mean, you need to get a session over to Anna Chu to do it Ignite this year and do some of those. Get that on the theatre. People will be excited for it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I thought about seeing what they thought about the idea, but it might be hard to do that on stage or in one of those 20-minute sessions with the whole green screen and everything. I'd have to come up with something else. I guess I could stick the transitions and whatnot, but I guess also until they come out with the whole background image in Teams, you can do it with a green screen.
Yeah, for sure. Any more questions? I think that's great. So
that's it.
Yeah, should we wrap up, Adam?
Yeah, I think so. Time's running out here. Again, thanks a lot, Chris Webb. A great session. And as you told before, Chris Hoard, next session is on the 29th of August, right?
Yeah.
If I remember it correctly. Yeah, and we are still looking for a speaker for that one. So if you're interested, just let us know. You can find us on Twitter. And also, I will upload this recording to our YouTube channel as well. I'm on holiday currently, so give me like 2-3 days at most, and I'll fix that. And you can watch this again. I will for sure. Is there anything else I missed?
No, I mean, I guess I would also say, please just keep spreading the word. And for anyone that sees this in terms of attending these, we've had some really great speakers, and I know that I've picked up a lot from this. And we do have some regular members now. The viewing figures are going up on demand as well. It is still early days. But we do see this as a long-term thing. So, I mean, Chris, it would be great to have you back again at some point speaking.
Yeah,
for sure. Thanks for having me, guys. It's fun. Hopefully it wasn't, too over the top. So.
No, I think it was really cool, actually. Really good session.
All right, cool, guys. I'll see you guys on the tech community.
Yeah, for sure. In 5 minutes or so.
Tonight, yeah.
I got to drive to work. I'll be gone for an hour, so get all the answers in you can.
Okay. Take the opportunity then. Okay, thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone, and have a great day, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.